it's showing me anything.
Yes, it's working, Dr. Holland.
You can see my screen?
Yes.
The full screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's not even showing me that it's sharing, which is crazy. So guys,
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing. I think this is just crazy. So as she stated, guys, I'm Dr. Holland. I spoke with them earlier. I'm gonna do a brief overview of Florida A&M University College of Law so I can have time to kind of talk to you all about the application process, what needs to be included, how to draft personal statements, addendums, optional essays, and things of that nature. I naturally talk fast, so if I am too fast, you can put it in the chat. If I don't see it, you can interrupt me, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I fully want to make sure that you all get the information that you need. I'm working off two screens, so I'm going to be moving my camera around so it can look like I'm talking directly to you all. So it may look kind of weird. It's weird for me too. So we're going to go ahead with the presentation. So again, I currently serve at Florida A&M University College of Law in the Office of Admissions, and I'm going to play a short video to start off.
The bell tolls. Who will answer the call for justice? Who will own the responsibility of molding those to be socially responsible? What if there was a law school that not only taught social justice, but it became a way of life, where families are the cornerstone of the community and the accused are innocent until proven guilty, and where social matters matter and are handled with swift justice? From the rattle to the gavel, we are rattlers for justice. We are Florida A&M University College of Law.
All right, so I'm just gonna dive right into some of our core values being excellence with caring, scholarship and service, distinction in teaching, experimental learning, professionalism, and diversity. One of the things that's very important when choosing a law school is choosing a law school whose core values are similar to your own, or a school may have some values that may resonate with yours. So a little bit about us. We offer two programs. We offer the full-time day program and the part-time evening program. The full-time day program is 3 years. The earliest you can complete is 2.5 years. Classes are Monday through Friday. Classes range from around 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the latest. And according to the ABA, which is the American Bar Association, you are not allowed to work more than 20 hours a week. People always argue the fact of, oh, why can't we work? You will soon find out when you become a 1L that it is just insanely too much to try to work and go to law school, especially full time. But for the students who have to support themselves financially, maybe their families financially, we have the part-time evening program, which takes 4 years to complete. The earliest that you can complete that program is 3.5 years. Classes are offered Monday through Thursday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. No Friday class, but summers are required. So if you want to go to law school part-time, you're going to be giving up your summers for the next 4 years, or 3.5 to 4 years. These programs kind of like give our students flexibility. Like, just because you don't work don't mean you can't be in a part-time program. We have a student ambassador who she doesn't work, but she wanted to do the part-time evening program to give herself the time and space to study, which has certainly showed in her first semester grades, with her having all A's. Okay, so tuition. People always want to know about money. We are one of the most affordable law schools in the state of Florida. So full-time student, if you are a Florida resident, you pay $13,816 per year, not semester. This is per year. And then if you are out of state, unfortunately, it is $33,077. If you are a part-time student, the tuition is $10,207 per year. And if you're out of state, it's $24,332. The main thing is, if you are not a Florida resident, if you apply your 1L year, you are admitted, You pay out-of-state tuition for your 1L year. You can qualify for in-state tuition your 2L year if and only if you establish Florida residency like August 1st, like at least prior to the day the classes start. To have Florida residency, it has to be for 12 consecutive months, day to day. They go all the way to the day. So if it's August 1st of 24, it has to go all the way to August 1st of 2025 to qualify for Florida residency. The easiest way to obtain Florida residency, if it's not like you signing a lease or anything, is changing like your driver's license, changing your voter's registration card, having a utility bill. These are some of the easiest changes that you could do in terms of qualifying for in-state tuition. So different career opportunities, we have the Office of Career Planning and Professional Development, who helps our students with internships, externships, job placement, along with other skills here, which will be resume and cover letter writing, which is good when you get ready to apply for the law firm or even apply for internship at a said law firm. They're gonna help sharpen your interview skills. They're gonna help you network. We have a lot of different events here at the College of Law. We'll have like a career week so that different firms can come to the college, scout out our students. We'll also have like a JD Advantage night. And that is for students who just come solely for the JD. They don't want to take the bar. And even if you want to take the bar, you can still go to JD Advantage night so you can see the different advantages that you have of obtaining a JD degree if you decide that you do not want to practice. They're going to show you job searching techniques and then just how to dress for success. People always ask, what do you wear at a law school? There are some people who come dress like they're still in undergrad. There are some people who come business casual, business professional. But one of the main pieces of advice that they'll give you in orientation, and it's said to be good advice, not bad advice, but it's kind of like happy medium advice, because it's like, oh, they say dress like you're going to an interview every day because you never know who's going to come to the school. Nobody's going to wear a three-piece suit every day because that's crazy. But wearing business casual, I think that will suffice. So when we talk about preparing for the real world and maybe your interest in areas of law, we have a general JD here at the College of Law, but we have a host of different electives to help cater to the area of law that you want to go into. The ones that I have listed here, we have a lot of professors who are pretty much skilled, and this is their expertise areas, which would be criminal law, juvenile law, environmental law, race in the law, entertainment law, sports law, immigration law, water law, which I have always found to be interesting, and then international law. The main thing is making sure people always say, I want to go to a law school that will support the area of interest that I'm interested in. We have these hosts of electives to help you alongside of clinics. We offer a mediation clinic, a guardian ad litem clinic, and an economic social justice clinic. All three of these clinics will kind of help you get the exposure to the areas of law that you want to go into. You may be asking like, oh, how there's just three, how does it cover these? The economic social justice clinic embodies many, many areas of the law, and it's going to help you get the exposure that you need. Okay, so the benefits of a Juris Doctorate, just like I was saying, you have the JD Advantage night if you don't want to practice. It's one of the most versatile degrees available. You can pursue pursue a legal career. You can have a career in education. You can have an administrative career, or you can be in a business world. Having a JD could also increase your earning potential, and you can qualify for top level positions. People always be like, well, how can I qualify for a top level position? You are a more competitive applicant coming out of law school because you understand policies, you pay attention to detail, you're going to read everything that's in front of you because those are the practices that you had while you were in law school. Okay, so these are just the basic admissions requirements for our institution, which we'll go over this again a little later in the presentation. So of course, you must complete a full application along with appropriate application fee, which has already been waived. If you are applying for this current cycle and you have yet to apply and you may see an application fee, you can just give us a call or send us an email, and then we are happy to send you an application fee waiver. You must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. And what we mean by a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution, it has to be accredited by the institution of higher education. And so also for a final transcript, it has to have your degree conferral date. So it must say degree conferred or conferred degree, and you just say February 4th, 2024. Like it has to show the date that the degree was conferred. You must take the law school admissions test. I'm sure you all have been hearing different things in regards to the ABA and then wanting to waive the LSAT or it shouldn't be an option. As of right now, present day, the law school admissions test is still a requirement for admission into Florida A&M University College of Law. So when people are reviewing your application, they're gonna look at your LSAT score, your undergrad GPA, any other academic rigor, maybe your clubs and organizations that you were involved in, what type of leadership roles, your public service, community service, things like that is what they'll look at, and alongside a work experience. And I know you all are in undergrad, so you may be saying like, what work experience? There's a lot of non-traditional students who apply to law school, who come, they may have worked in a career 7 to 10 years and they're ready to make a career change. So we look at the experience and how that'll help them be successful in law school. So the application deadline, our application deadline is April 30th of every academic year. The last LSAT we will accept for fall 2025 will be the April LSAT, and every year after that. The April LSAT is the last LSAT we accept for the fall entering class of every academic year. Okay, so if you ever need any information or one-on-one session, you can always give us a call, send us an email, or visit our website. We're happy to help you all as needed. But that's just a little brief overview about the College of Law. Of course, you all should know we're located right over in downtown Orlando. Central location, very accessible. So now let's go into, after you can follow us at your leisure, but now we're gonna go into the stuff that matters for everyone who is interested in going to law school. So now we should navigate the law school roadmap, which is a different journey for everyone, I must say. I'm gonna try to give you some tools and tips to help you have a standout application. All right, so this is just an introduction. We're gonna talk about that law school application process and the importance of a standout application. All right, so let's understand the law school timeline. If you are heavily interested in going to law school, you need to start a timeline, meaning you need to know when the LSAT is going to be administered. Whatever schools you want to apply to, you need to know their application deadlines, whether it may be just the application deadline, a priority deadline, early decision, or a priority scholarship deadline. You need to have all of this written down in a book, in a digital document, or whatever you prefer. Interviews, some schools have them, some schools don't. And then just understanding the importance of starting early. If y'all could put in a chat, like if you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, so we can kind of survey the room. And I'll try to give you a timeline based off of if you're a freshman or a sophomore. So if you're a freshman and a sophomore, the most important thing is you have the greatest advantage because you can nurture your GPA, protect your GPA, build relationships with the professors, because those are going to be the ones writing your letters of recommendation. When you're starting as a freshman or a sophomore, you have time to give yourself exposure to this field. So it's like, oh, I'm a freshman and sophomore. Let me look at an LSAT book so that I can kind of study and know what's going on. And that way, when you get into your junior year, I would always say like your junior year, that's when you should be really starting to sit for the LSAT, because the LSAT score is good for 5 years. Because when you get into your senior year, you don't have to worry about nothing but hit and submit on your application. Of course, building it out in the LSAC portal, but once you get to your senior year, it's nothing for you to worry about. You don't have to worry about taking away time to prep for the LSAT or taking away time to go do all of this. Like, take the time before your senior year. If you are a freshman or sophomore, you have the greatest advantage because you can start early and you can start doing your process like your sophomore year. Like, start thinking about some stuff to be involved in. What is your personal statement going to say? How are you building relationships with those professors? And with you starting as a freshman and sophomore, hey, I feel like I'm slacking in this class. Let me get it together because my undergrad GPA is going to matter in terms of going to law school. So now if you are a junior, we are in the spring semester of your junior year, so it's very vital. I would say if I was you, I would try to take the June LSAT. so that when it comes into the fall, when it's your senior year, you're only worried about applying and trying to get your personal statement together. But you want to allocate the adequate amount of time to each task. The LSAT, I always say a minimum of 3 months. And that's me being very, very generous, but a minimum of 3 months in terms of prepping for the LSAT. I tell my students all the time, do not go and just take the LSAT so you can just see how the test is going to be. Don't do that. Make sure that you take the adequate amount of time to prep. If you are a senior, it's really time to hit the ground running. You need to be taking this February LSAT that's coming up or this April LSAT. Because most schools won't take the June LSAT for fall 2025. You can take the June one if you are considering a gap year. So if you are a senior, you definitely need to be in some writing lab, perfecting your personal statement, getting it edited, still talking to your professors to see who can write those letters of recommendation. So it's when it comes to your senior year, it's so much more that you have to do in such little time. So the importance of LSAT preparation, which I probably already touched on, but it's important to really find the right tips that's good for you. Like more students I've been seeing get more tutors because that's the type of learner that they are. They kind of learn better with like a one-on-one tutor. And then you have those students who want to go and do like test masters and different things like that to kind of get like the exposure. They'll get on YouTube. They'll find different things, and it's all trial and error. You'll test different things to see what works best for you and what doesn't. All right, personal statements, which is my favorite, and a soapbox that I'm gonna try not to go on too much. You want to be very authentic, and you want to have a clarity of your purpose. You want to reflect on your experiences. So one of the main things in terms of personal statements, it's always a little easier to write your personal statement if a school has like different prompts. Like for us, it may say your why do you want to go to law school, talk about your commitment to public service, and then how do you envision using your legal education from Florida A&M University College of Law. So one of my main things about personal statement is being authentic because there's only one you. And I think it's important to be able to share your story and not feel like, oh, I shouldn't say this because, oh, it feels too that, or I shouldn't do this because it feels that. When you're writing a personal statement, the main base of that personal statement is your why. Why do you want to go to law school? It could be a person, a place, or thing, or movie, anything. For example, you could have saw a family member wrongly accused, and then they got exonerated, and then that sparked your passion for the law. Some people, believe it or not, I've read a lot of personal statements. They watch How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, a lot of things that Legally Blonde, which is what I've been seeing a lot in this cycle in personal statements. And you will see people talk about how their parents are immigrants and they saw like the disparities and how they like so many things can cause somebody to want to go to law school. I always tell this story. I had this applicant one year who had a neighbor. I forgot where she lived, but her neighbor, there are two different races, which is very important. The neighbor had got raided and she thought that her family was next, and her family never explained to her what happened to her neighbor. So as she grew up, she was like, she didn't know what happened. And it wasn't really until 2016 when she started learning more about immigration law and what happens if you are not a US citizen and the process. And so once she got the exposure there, she hit the ground running and she was like, I want to do immigration law. I want to be able to unite people with their families. So that incident from that happening to her as a child, like growing up with the unknown, sparked her interest to want to go to law school. And I believe now she has graduated law school and passed the bar, and immigration law is what she is fighting for now. So many different things can kind of help students kind of navigate their personal statement. I just think it's very important to be yourself. Whether you grew up in a single parent household and how you may have saw your mom's determination, it made you want to go after everything that you wanted to go after. But the thing that's very important when it's a person who has experience or influenced you to go to law school, Sometimes you can write your personal statement solely about that person and you kind of forget about you. I think it's okay to do an introductory sentence saying, hey, I grew up in a, well, not this vague, but just an example. I grew up in a single parent home. My mom's determination, wit, and drive made me want to pursue all of my dreams. From there, I went on to do X, Y, Z. You have to refer back to yourself. You can always pay homage to who may have interest you in the field, but you have to make sure that that personal statement goes back to you. Reflect on those personal experiences. Be personable. I always tell students, don't shy away from sharing who you are. Don't think it's a pity party. Don't think it's anything like that. If it's your story, please put your story out because a lot of schools don't do essays. So we need to feel the reader once we're reading something. We want to know the type of student that you are, and walk you through the avenues of life that you decided to share with us. So it's very important to be authentic in sharing your story. The next thing on personal statements that I will say too, if you are applying to multiple schools, and let's just say, you say, something like, I have, enjoyed seeing the work of one of your professors, can't wait to be in their class. Oh, I can't wait to join FAMU Law in the fall, but then you apply to Stetson Law and on the end it says, oh, I wanted to apply to FAMU Law. So if you're applying to multiple schools, you either need to keep your personal statement about you and don't kind of specialize it to the school. Or you need to save them under different school names so you don't get anything confused and you don't submit the wrong personal statement to the school you're applying to. All right, building a strong resume. One of the many mistakes that students make is trying to overly put law all on their resume. If you haven't had any experience in the law, that is fine. If you had normal, regular experience and then law school, I mean, not law school, but law, experience, don't take off the regular experience and just have it all like showcasing law firms or things like that. Keep your resume authentic, and keep your academic achievements there. But don't just try to say, oh, I want to go to law school. Let me say I worked at a law firm here, I clerked here, I did this. If you only had a work study job, that is fine. But if you volunteered at a law firm, you can include that, but don't overshadow what you already done just to put all the legal jargon on your resume. Formatting tips. All right, there's 8 million different resume templates out. Always say that if I was going to school during this time, it would be very hard because there's so much to choose from. I always say stray away from like flying color resumes. Some people argue the fact that they want to add their picture to the resume. I don't necessarily recommend that because it's not really necessary unless you just want somebody to put a face with a name. But I know that we don't require your pictures to be on your resume. So my personal and professional recommendation would be, it doesn't have to be there, but again, whatever you feel most comfortable with, I'm fine with that as well. Okay. All right, letters of recommendation. If y'all could put in the chat, like, who do y'all think should write your letters of recommendation? I know that I said something about professors earlier, but one of the main things that I do want to touch on with letters of recommendation is not really much that you can do on your letter of recommendation, but I think it's very important to know that when people want to go to law school, they want the top people to write their letters of recommendation to kind of help sway the admissions committee to, admit them. Don't go get the CEO of a company that doesn't know you. Then they're just a CEO of a company, and we just read a letter, a general letter at that they may generate for everyone in their company who asks. It's important to get somebody who can speak to the work that you can do, the drive that you have, and it needs to be a professional letter of recommendation. So if you're coming straight out of undergrad, it needs to be your professors. Now, if you have an employer, that's fine, but it doesn't need to be any personal letters of recommendation. It shouldn't be like a friend from high school. Oh, I've been knowing, like somebody's named Emily on here. I've been knowing Emily for 10 years now. We stayed in the same dorm together. She's this, that, da, 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 da. You do not want a personal letter of recommendation. You want it all to be professional. You want them to be able to also talk about your interest in law school. When you get somebody to write your letter of recommendation, go and talk to them. Let them know more about you. Let them know why you want to go to law school so that when they write their letter of recommendation, they can confirm all of the things that they said about you.
that you said about yourself in your personal statement. Like I've read some great some great letters of recommendation where the recommenders are like, oh, this is ever since I met them, they were in my whatever class, and ever since I met them, they've shown strong interest in the law. They've taken the initiative on opening up classroom discussions. They have one of the highest grades in my class, and there'll be professors who write letters of recommendation and say that out of all of the years they've been teaching, they gave out very few A's, and this says student received the A. And so when you think about somebody who you want to write your letter of recommendation, just make sure it's somebody who knows you, knows the will to work that you have, the discipline that you have, and that's very important when the committee is reviewing your file. All right, application, essays, and addendums. Okay, I'm sure you all have heard of different things called optional essays. Like some schools may require a diversity statement. What is the difference in a diversity statement and a personal statement? And then what is the proper way to address any weaknesses or gaps in your application? All right, the difference between a personal statement and a diversity statement is your personal statement is your why as to why do you want to go to law school? How are you committed to public service? Easy. Then we get over to the diversity statement, where so much from your personal statement can be said in your diversity statement, but in your diversity statement, whatever you perceive that makes you a diverse candidate, what part of this story are you willing to share? It doesn't need to be the same thing that you wrote in your personal statement. For example, we all know that diversity is not just our skin color or even our gender. It goes even down to our socioeconomic status, the type of work that we do, whether we are disabled or not, it's whether we are a veteran. So, or whether we're first generation college students, or first generation law students. If you feel like something from that will help you showcase how your background has equipped you to go to law school, that's what you write a diversity statement for. I think in light of the current times, I don't think many people will be asking for that, but just in case they do, you know the difference. Now you're gonna always use an addendum to address any weaknesses or gaps in your application. So let's just say you take a gap year, you'll write an addendum to say, oh, in this gap year, I actually want to take time to save my money, actually prep for the LSAT, or I may have started a master's program that I wanted to kind of sharpen my skills before I came to law school and give myself a little bit more discipline when it comes to any like academic weaknesses. Like let's just say you were on academic probation once, you write an addendum and say, hey, during this semester, I struggle with my mental health, or I may have lost a family member, or different things like that, where you can address any weaknesses that you have in your application. So one of the main things too, let me go back to optional essays and addendums. So also, I'm probably ahead of myself, but I'm going to talk about it now. I'm sure you all have heard of Carrington Fitness, which is a portion of the law school application that you have to fill out. That can go from anywhere from you getting a traffic citation, getting like a little petty charge from being juvenile or anything like that. But if you have had any Carrington Fitness, you have to write an addendum explaining what happened, and also attach the supporting documentation. If it comes to a traffic citation, if it's over $200, you have to include that. You have to say, hey, on February 4th, I got a speeding ticket for going 95 into 65. And then you attach the ticket and show that you resolved it. So just final steps before submissions. I'm going to rush to the end of this because I want to allow you all time to answer questions. Just make sure you review your application thoroughly, check for grammatical errors, because when you become an attorney, they're going to want you to pay attention to detail. And please believe me that when committees are reviewing the file, they are looking at the details, because you want to be an attorney and nobody wants an attorney who's not paying attention to detail. Pay attention to the deadlines, reminders, scholarships priority, early decision, early binding. Check all of those reminders. All right, after you submit your application, what do? You wait. And I always tell students, find a hobby or something, because you will run yourself crazy. Anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. It takes a very long time to receive a decision, because we have so many people that it have to go through. So kind of just find a hobby. One thing to stay engaged with the school after you submitted the application, just try to go and reach out to the school to see if they have any upcoming events that you may want to go tour some schools. while you're waiting, but find something to do and do not run yourself crazy. I know it's easier said than done. Don't check the portal every 5 minutes. I had a student who applied one day and by the third day, she had checked her application status, and this is no joke, 134 times. And I'm like, you literally just went into review. So please don't do yourself like that. Just find a hobby and just kind of stay busy other ways. Okay, here's my contact information. If you all need anything from me, please feel free to reach out. I try to be as available as possible. So now I'm gonna stop my share and I'm gonna give you all time to ask any questions that you might have, and then we'll go from there.
First question will this slideshow be available for us after this session?
Or I can send this to them, sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just gonna take out the part about my school, but I'll leave the application components in.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. My question is